All right, let's get into this bad boy. Yes, sir. Music up. And welcome to another edition of the Halftime Report with Pudge. Go on, Pudge. 1 minute past the big hour of, 6 o'clock, 6:01 on the big clock on the wall, locked and loaded to the blowtorch of all. That is sport, Elos, rock and roll, and everything in between. KSIX Corpus Christi, 12:30 a.m., 95.1 FM. Streaming live on the internet there for you at pudgenation.com, everybody's favorite new website. Go check it out, pudgenation.com. Let's see what else we got here. You're listening to America's only rock and roll sports talk show. Also happens to be the only talk show in America that when it's all said and done, well, talk show host, right side of history. Don't believe me? Ask Tony Iommi. Call the show at 884-1230, 884-1230. Text the show at 361-884-1230, 361-884-1230. Social media? Okay, why not? You got your basic Twitter, you got your basic Instagram, and that's at On Air with Pudge. And then, of course, Facebook Live. That's right. We do that Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m., top of each hour. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock, we go live on Facebook. All you have to do is type in Pudge Nation, 2 words, in the old Facebook search engine there. And like it and follow it. And then, hey, man, you have access to all the mayhem that happens daily on the Halftime Report with Pudge. And today will be no different. Oh, you think you know a show, you hang out with it for the past 5 years, and you're like, oh, I know what I'm getting with it. No, you don't. Today's show is going to be a little different today. But how you doing, Michael? You doing all right?
Doing well.
Huh?
Doing well.
See if we can get your microphone to work. There you go. Yeah.
Hey,
What?
we lost another acting icon.
Oh, yeah, we shared it a couple of days ago, yeah.
First, it was the body of Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Now we've lost William Hurt.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, well, okay, bring in the raisins, yeah. You're wondering how I knew plans to make you.
We'll have to have a reunion of The Big Chill.
Yeah, guess so. Well,
And maybe even a sequel to The Big Chill 2.
well, the cast is getting smaller, Yeah. Sunday, we lost William Hurt. Of course, along with a great performance in The Big Chill, I love him in broadcast news, where he plays the anchor.
Was he the one who sweated?
No.
That was,
Yeah, Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
Albert Brooks is that's a hilarious scene when Albert Brooks is. Can they see this? And they're there with a hair dryer trying to, dry off his pits.
was the love interest in that movie?
Oh, what's her name?
Holly Hunter?
Yeah, there you go, Holly Hunter. Her talks out of the corner of her mouth like that. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, we're gonna do the news. Yeah, something like that. Who knew? Oh, it's hard to tell the two apart, especially when they're both smoking a cigar. Yeah. Oh, I had a good one last night, too. I had a nice cigar. It was nice that it finally warmed up. I was able to sit on the patio and drink a nice gentleman's Jack and Coke with my nice cigar and just listen to some tunage and go, That's how you wrap up a day there, my friend. But, we lost William Hurt on Sunday, 71 years old. And, an actor amongst actors, He was just, it was always enjoyed. He was a dark soul, an interesting fella, to say the least. He had a relationship with Marley Matlin. Is that her name? The woman that's deaf?
The movie Children of a Lesser.
Yeah. And so they had their relationship was very Glenn Campbell, Tanya Tucker level. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it was a little bit more sophisticated, Anyway, that was with a British accent and sign language. But Yeah, but as far but if you go just on the acting itself, yeah, just a great actor. And that one, I just like, I didn't even see that coming. Like really, I didn't. It's not like everybody was all, "Hey, can you give me the status of everybody's health on Earth?"
I didn't even know William Hurt.
No, I didn't either. Well, he passed away at the age of 71, so we lost him. I thought you were going to say, I was like, dude, we lost Marvin Gaye a long time ago. That was back in 84, man, So, but in any case, so, okay, all right. Good acknowledgement there, Mike.
That's just the mere opening of
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, and if you're wondering about the Kevin Costner reference that Mike gave, yeah, the original, the way the movie was going to play out was, well, for those of you that have never seen The Big Chill, okay, first of all, wow, okay, let's just get that out of the way. But I mean, hey, there are some that have never seen that movie.
It's a must-see
Yeah,
movie.
you should see it.
It's got the Michigan State team.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. It's basically because I showed it to my daughter a while back, and it didn't dawn as I'm explaining the movie to her. It didn't dawn on me that at the time that movie came out, they were a bunch. Nobody really knew who these people. Nobody knew who Kevin Kline was. Nobody knew who Jo Beth Williams was. Nobody, just Glenn Close. We didn't know who she was. Tom Berenger. We didn't know who he was. The cast. Jeff Goldblum. We didn't know who he was, right? Yeah, and so it was. Now you look at that movie coming back from 1983, and you go, wow, it's an all-star cast. But understand that movie launched a whole bunch of careers. It was filmed in the Carolinas, out in the Outer Banks. That house, when you see it, that's in the Outer Banks there of Carolina, North Carolina. And the premise of the movie is that you have a group of people that they went to college together at the University of Michigan during the 60s. And all of us, as we all do in life, they all kind of went their separate ways after they were done with college. And then one of their classmates, who was kind of like you kind of get the point that he ran point. He was like the leader of that group. He commits suicide, right? And so the premise of the movie is that all of these college classmates get back together for this weekend for his funeral, and they end up staying at one of the classmates' house. And it's kind of just like a catching up of everybody of, all right, so what have we been up to for the past 20 years type thing, or 15 years, I guess. And keep in mind that when the movie came out in 1983, the characters and the actors that portrayed these characters are in their mid-30s, right? And so, in other words, like I went to the movie, I saw that movie with my parents. And for my parents, it was a movie of their time because they were from the 60s and now it was the 80s. And it was kind of a snapshot of like, okay, let's check in on ourselves and let's see what we've been up to and how do we feel about it. And so it was the first of its kind of that type of movie. I mean, now you have these coming of age movies where everybody's now middle aged and they get to and the other part of the movie that was fascinating, of all things, was the soundtrack. Because of that movie. I mean, you have to understand, if you go and you visit that movie now, you hear the soundtrack throughout the movie, and you're like, oh, okay. But understand, when that movie came out in 83, many of those songs that they play in the movie, we hadn't heard in forever. And in fact, because of the success of The Big Chill and its soundtrack, the soundtrack for that movie went number one. It was a rebirth of what we now would refer to oldies, or in some instances, classic rock. But in the 80s, it wasn't music that was commonly played on the radio. It had a time that gone by, and so the soundtrack went number one. So much so that they did a sequel soundtrack. They did like a volume 2. Same thing that happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. That soundtrack went number one, and it was so popular. They're like, well, hell, we need a volume 2. And so. Now the songs that you hear in that soundtrack, we hear them in tons of movies, since then. But understand, there has to be that first time. And The Big Chill, it was a landmark film. Now, if you watch it today, especially if you've never seen it before, you're going to watch it and you're going to go, whoopee-doo, what's the big deal? But try to put yourself in the little time machine, climb in the DeLorean, put yourself back summer 1983. And, I mean, Ronald Reagan is still president. Everybody's wearing dresses with huge shoulder pads. TV is starting to change a little bit. It's not the old variety shows that we were accustomed to in the 70s. Now you're starting to see sitcoms, and you're seeing, things like Dynasty and Dallas and shows like that. It was just a different time, And so it's a fun movie to visit, but okay. So once again, now all of that to tell you this, and that is that the character who commits suicide was portrayed by a very young, this would have been his first movie, well, not really, it would have been his second movie, Kevin Costner. And Kevin Costner, that was, so there's the crutch of the movie, and he's going to be that character, right? Well, the director reaches out to Kevin Costner and says, look, man, I'm calling you to apologize. And Costner's like, well, for what? And the director says, you ended up on the cutting floor. We changed the complete beginning of the movie. You are not going to be seen in the movie. In fact, the only way you're going to be seen in the movie is when they are dressing you in the casket. The only thing anybody's going to see of you is your suit, your shoes, and your wrist. And that's it. And so you got to imagine Costner. Now, if you're wondering what his first movie was, he is literally frat boy number 3 in Love Brokers, Night Shift. In Night Shift, the scene where they have the big frat party at the morgue, right? Okay, there's this, Henry Winkler walks into the morgue, and there's all these hookers in there, and they're all naked, right? And it's this big frat party. And you see Michael Keaton pumping the keg, right? And they're just chug, 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 chug. Well, the frat boy that is standing next to Michael Keaton is Kevin Costner. And so you have to look quickly to see him, and that's 1982. Okay, so that's 1982. 1983, Big Chill's going to happen, and here's his big moment, and he ends up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, I guess Kevin Costner grew a brain and said, no more Borat movies.
Well, here's what happened. The director, in his apology, tells Kevin Costner that he's going to make it up to him. And he promises Kevin Costner that the next movie that he directs, Kevin Costner will be one of the main actors in the movie. Main characters and a whole bunch of face time. No, that ends up being the movie with Silverado, the Western. It's got Danny Glover, and it also has Kevin Kline, right? Okay, from The Big Chill, right? Okay. So you have the director of The Big Chill, you have Kevin Kline from The Big Chill, and to us, this was a brand new guy. It's like this Kevin Costner guy, whatever. But he had history with the director. He had history with Kevin Kline. He just unfortunately ended up on the cutting room floor. And so once, Silverado came out, and, the rest is history. Now Kevin Costner literally owns Deadwood, South Dakota. I'm not kidding. If you go to Deadwood, South Dakota, because, I did, you go past Sturgis, you hit Sturgis, you make a U-turn, right? And as one does. And then you hit Deadwood, and then you drive about another 45 minutes, and you get to Mount Rushmore. Okay? Well, Deadwood it's a town that they've fixed it up in a whole bit, but they have it just like the way it was back in the 1800s. When you drive into Deadwood, you're like, okay, I just hit a time machine. And the only thing there is to do at Deadwood is either gamble or eat. That's it, right? We stayed at the Four Aces Hotel. And the trick was, if you were dealt, at the casino, if you were dealt 4 aces, you get a T-shirt. And lo and behold, I was dealt 4 aces. I was like, so I got a T-shirt. They've got the number 10 saloon. If you remember, HBO had a show called Deadwood that ran for about a couple of seasons.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The whole thing is there, and you can go. The dead man's hand, aces and eights. Right there, and it's all right there. And Kevin Costner owns that town. He literally bought the town. He owns the buildings, everything. It's his town. So when you see Kevin Costner, now he's in that Western. That's on, I think.
Yellowstone.
Yeah, but where is Yellowstone? Like on A&E or something like that?
It's on,
Well,
yeah.
something like that. Well, right. Yeah, it's one of those channels, right? Well, in any case, he comes by it honest. That's what he lives for, is that region of the country. Yeah, whatever. And so, but yeah, he had to start somewhere, and he started with The Big Chill. And how does that all tie together? Well, we lost William Hurt, who's one of the actors in the movie The Big Chill. There you go. And now, on with the countdown. Okay. A lot of stuff happening in the NFL. A lot of signings. Well, and the weird part is, technically, nobody's able to sign anything. They're really not able to do anything until March 16th.
They're not going to go on a lockout or a strike.
Right. Well, no. But March 16th is tomorrow. Yeah, they have to wait, because the season starts tomorrow. The new season starts tomorrow. Okay. So because of that, you're seeing a lot of movement with a lot of the teams. Yesterday, pretty much like the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins were the ones who just went nuts yesterday and announced their intentions, right? Look at Chocolate checking out the ham. But in any case, the Dolphins made moves. The Steelers made moves. The Cowboys made some moves, right? So everybody's starting to position and posture themselves as far as what their intentions are, which it is important, because we're coming up about a month away, a little over a month away from the draft. So as teams are strategizing on how they're going to position themselves for this upcoming season, utilizing the draft, utilizing free agency, and not only that, but doing their best to keep their key components of their roster in place, right now is when all of that is shaking out and all of it is happening.
So the war in Ukraine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly. Way to tie it all back into the NFL there, Mike. Good job, And so we got lots of that to cover, because there was a lot of big names that you're going, they're ending up where? That type of thing, right? Then, of course, it's a big day in Corpus Christi today. Later on this afternoon. Yeah, absolutely, because later on this afternoon, the March Madness touches ground right here in Corpus Christi, serendipitously.
Oh, the crew agreed and decided to play the game here.
No, they didn't. They're playing it in Dayton. Okay, Dayton, Ohio. Hey, whatevs. But Texas A&M Corpus Christi, your Islanders will be playing this afternoon. Tip-off time is 5:40. They're playing Texas Southern, and it's basically this is the first 4. Okay, so there's going to be 4 games. The 4 winners are the last 4 teams to get into the official 64-team bracket. Okay, so the winner of this game later on this afternoon between the Islanders and what are they? The Lions of Texas Southern? I think is what are they? Something like that. It's. Okay. Well, like I care, I was just trying to be nice,
This is that wheelhouse of his.
Oh, I know. You'd think he'd know, right?
Yeah.
So we're here guessing. Okay, well, good for you. You know what? You maintain your integrity. Good job, Mike. But in any case, we're playing Texas Southern. The winner of the game this afternoon gets the fun privilege of on Thursday playing number 1 seeded Kansas. Now, to put this in perspective, I think if I recall correctly, one's playing 16. In other words, number 1 seed versus number 16 seed. Worst against the best, right? The record is 1-168. In other words, out of 169 times that 16 has played only one time has the 16 seed beat the number 1 seed. Now, it was just a couple of years ago, right, Mike? Right?
Yes, Virginia went down to WMBC.
Yeah, and Virginia was just coming off of the national champ, or they won it the next year. Okay, I knew there was. Yeah, definitely. Like, show you, one of those deals. But in any case, so the chances, let's just be honest, the chances of the Islanders being able to beat Kansas, that's a stretch. But that's why they play the games, because, hey, there was a team that did it, right? But instead of looking upon that, you pay attention to the game in front of you. And this is going to be fun, because it's been since 2007 that the Islanders were in the big dance in March Madness. So it's nice to see them back. It'll be interesting to see if this is the beginning of a new trend for the Islanders, where we're going to start seeing ourselves winning the Southland Conference more often. Are we going to see ourselves making it to the big dance? Are we going to see ourselves, you always hear coaches when they get hired saying, we're going to change the culture around here, right? Well, are we going to see where the Islanders change the culture so much that maybe we end up in a different league? Because we keep winning, we keep making it to the big dance, and so now, and especially when all these conferences are always in a whole bunch of upheaval, maybe an opening opens up in a league that's a step up, if you will.
That could happen.
You never know.
Oh, it did happen to a team. They won the tournament.
Yeah.
They're ineligible because they were put through.
Yeah. Transition, right? Well, no, look at like UTSA, the football team, the school. I mean, I remember when I was going to UTSA, I don't even remember the name of the conference we were in, but it was.
Weren't you the mascot?
No, I wasn't, but thank you for asking. Yeah, anyway, I forget what the conference was, but it was some small little conference that we were part of. And actually, UTSA made the big dance once, right, when I was going to college there. Well, now look at us. We're Division I, dude. I mean, we're playing in bowl games, with regards to the football. And so it happens. So we'll see. But, you take your first step, and that's what makes today so exciting. It's because we're taking that first step with a new coach, a new team, and new opportunities. And not only that, but it's an opportunity where our city actually gets a white-hot spotlight shown upon it, and we get to shine for a little bit,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the Texas Southern team, that's not the coach that made
The team.
run the field and suicide.
Was it? Could be. I don't know. We'll see.
Right in the middle of the game.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on timeouts, All right, yeah. We'll see what happens. All right. So as you can, and then of course Uncle Andy, he'll be here later on this morning to save us from another boring Tuesday, right?
Yeah, but how boring is it when we get to talk about this NCAA
Well, I know, right? Yeah, that's good stuff.
game?
Well, I tell you, yesterday I had an interesting moment, right? Yesterday we had our first Monday Night Madness of a brand new season. We had 14 teams yesterday show up. So
14 teams.
that scares the hell out of me. Usually
For day one?
for day one, week one, and 14 teams, I'm like, oh boy, because the season tends to be like an arc. In other words, we start out, just a little, just kind of ease in. And by like July, it's mayhem.
Right.
That's when we hit our peak, July, August. And then as we work our way to September, the end of this season, little by little, we start, the crowd starts getting smaller. Okay. For us to start out with 14 teams, I was like, when I arrived, both Jay and Lawrence were over there at Oso, and I go, well, boys, how we doing? And Jay just looks at me, 14 teams. I was like, yikes, I was like, oh, man. Because if we're at 14 teams right now, what are we going to be like in July, But that's exciting. It just shows the support that we have of the golfing community here in Corpus. And not only that, but quite honestly, the success of this show. Because the only way people know about this golf tournament is through this show and the website that the golf course has as well.
But they don't do any direct marketing?
No, there's no billboards, there's no TV commercials or newspaper ads or anything. No, The only way you found out was this show.
Yeah.
We don't even, the other, I mean, it's not like Dan Patrick and Jim Rome go, oh, and by the way, don't forget, that for those of you in court. No, I mean, it's just this, right? And for us to have that kind of a turnout and that kind of success, that is just awesome.
It says how big of an audience we have.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are the #1 talk show in the city, so there you go. Okay, so I'm a ball of nerves like I am every year. Even though it's successful every year, anytime I throw an event, I am just all discombobulated.
So you're like Albert Brooks.
Because, well, I don't know about, I'm not one big sweat gland, but I am worried about, are people going to show up? What are we going to do? It's just everything and anything that could go wrong is what's going through my head, right? So I'm at home. I decide, what I'm going to eat. I hadn't eaten, so I was like, and I took my nap. I said, what, I'm going to make me a turkey and cheese sandwich, right? Give me a pickle spear.
Did you use your cheese?
No, yeah, I did use cheese. And I got some chips, some onion dip, poured me a Coke Zero, right? So a good hearty lunch,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, very meekly, I hear, just barely,
Isabel in her room.
No, she's been there for days, right? No, but I just hear this little, just barely, and I'm like, is that the door? So I was like, get up, I'm like, you know how we are now. Back when we were younger, somebody knocked on the door, we were like, hey, baby, somebody's here, and all. Nowadays it's like, okay, all right, who invited who here? It's like, wait a minute, I'm here by myself. Did I invite anybody? So
I'd have to get up off this couch.
Yeah, right. And I don't have anybody to blame
and walk all the way to the door.
I don't have anybody to chew out nothing. So I go to the front door and I open the door, and this guy, the UPS guy, he's standing there, and in front of him is a box that comes to like his shoulders. And he wasn't the tallest guy in the world, but it was a pretty good size
box.
It was a tall box as well.
Big American boxes.
Yeah. And so thank you, Swedish boy. It's Czechoslovakian, right? And I was wondering why you were wearing that shirt. Now I know. All right, you're just wild and crazy, aren't you? So I look, and of course my eyes just get the size of like a teeing off frisbee. If you play frisbee golf, you use different frisbees, and the one that you tee off with is a big bad boy. Each of my eyeballs was that big, because this guy, he's standing there, and my eyes immediately see this artistic rendering on the box that is undeniable, and I'm just like, oh my God, right?
So this is that moment. This is like that moment in Roger Rabbit when we find out that Reverend Jim from Taxi is really one of the cartoon characters, and he's the bad guy because you see those eyes.
Hey, Mike, guess what Tom just watched last night, apparently?
It's a hell of a reference. But
No, I just remembered it.
All right, well, in any case,
The eyes.
I'm looking, and I swear the UPS guy looks at me and goes, it's here, baby! Congratulations! Now, when have you ever heard a UPS guy say that to you, right? Never. Much less, when have you ever had a UPS guy stop his route and spend 10 minutes, a solid 10 minutes at your door to go, dude, this guy was more excited for me. I was in shock, and he was just like, he just was going on and on and on. And that was because on the box was an artistic rendering of a Gibson guitar. And with the word Gibson across the box. Yeah. And I'm looking and I'm like,
not Epiphone.
No, the real.
Not Ibanez.
So the guy, the UPS guy, turns out he was a musician back in his younger days. And he used to also work at a guitar store where they sold guitars. So he had stories about Gibson guitars, and he was very, so I look at him and I go, well, what kind of guitar? He goes, oh yeah, I read the box, So he knew that this guitar was not your normal guitar, right? So we finally part ways.
Wait, let's stop and make the point. If it was just a normal Gibson SG guitar. That alone would be like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so move on now that it wasn't even, it was more than that.
More than that. And so I go into my living room and I cut open, I get a knife and I cut open the tape, the box. And it hadn't even dawned on me. I'm thinking, you usually get a guitar and it comes with like a little soft gig bag or whatever. Oh, hell no. I look and I see that there's this brown/tan hard case in the box. And I'm like, right? I mean, I've never had a hard case, So I pull it out very carefully out of the box. And it's this brown tan color. And it's got gold locks on it, 4 of them. So, it was dramatic, like out of a movie. Very slowly, I start unclipping the locks, right? And then I open the lid. And, oh, by the way, on the lid, embossed on there is Gibson, right?
See you right there.
Oh, yeah. And so I open the lid, and there's this red, orangish crushed velvet lining the inside of the case. And at that point, the roof above my living room opened. It just parted. It was weird. It just parted open, and a sunbeam from the heavens shone into my living room. And all of a sudden, the choir from "You Can't Always Get What You Want," I was like, oh my God, and there it was. There it is. It's this Gibson SG, a rosewood color, and Tony Iommi signature series, right? This is a $3,000 guitar, okay? I am not going to tell you what I paid for it, but let's just say Holmes didn't pay $3,000 for it, But still, it is, if you go online, it is a $3,000 guitar. At which point I was like, man, did my neighbors see this? I don't want everybody knowing my business, But I just stared at it. Yeah, no, but it had a guitar rendering on the front of the box. And so I just stared at it. I didn't know what to do. And I swear, Tom, I had a genuine smile on my face, like as if I was 10 years old and it was Christmas morning. And even when I got to the golf course, I couldn't, the smile didn't leave my face. Look at me now. The smile is there, Oh, hell no, not to those slobs. Are you kidding me? So I sat on my couch and I pulled the guitar out of the case and I strummed it with my thumb. Just, I didn't plug it in or anything, right?
Uh-huh.
I just, they send you the guitar tuned.
Uh-huh.
What are the odds? Usually when you buy a guitar, you got to, do the whole, this one, the whole, it was in tune. And so I was like, first I called Maclovio, right?
Yes, that had to be your first.
That was first. Well, I called him because his son was instrumental. He works for Gibson Guitars. Was instrumental, pardon the pun, in helping me get this guitar. So I called Maclovio, and Maclovio was excited for me and the whole bit. Then I hung up with Maclovio, and then I called you, Tom. and of course you answer, go, hey, what's up? And I go, it's here. It's here.
And I knew instantly.
Yeah.
Right? What did I say next? The SG?
And I was like, yes, it is. It's here. And so I've kept my promise. Okay. This morning here in the studio, I have brought the guitar and the guitar case. I brought a practice amp. Okay. It's a miniature amp. And so I promised you that when I got the guitar, you would be the first person to play it. It has Tony Iommi's autograph on the back of the headstock of the guitar. All right. And so I'm going to let you are going to be the first person to play the guitar. You get to break it in, right? And so, because, I want to make sure that this guitar is done right. I want an actual guitar player to, I'm going to go pluck along on the whole thing, but I'm not a guitar player in any stretch of any means, remotely close to how you are.
Without getting into the weeds here.
Yeah.
Do you know the gauge of strings on the thing?
I couldn't tell.
Do you know why I'm asking this? Because Tony Iommi has a certain
gauge.
very, very light gauge because of the accident.
Let me put it- yeah,
Before he became a guitar player,
Right.
he was already,
He's missing a fingertip.
and it's
Yeah.
more than that. There's also a strength issue.
Right.
So he has to use
Well,
really light gauge.
I'll put it to you this way.
When I was sitting on the couch, I started playing "Wonderful Tonight," okay, by Eric Clapton, and there's a lot of string bending on that one, and that was a hell of a lot easier to do than on my Fender. I was like, I was like, wow, and so we're gonna do that later on this morning on the show. We're gonna let you. First of all, I want you to have the moment where you open the case. It's a great moment.
those lights are gonna.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be awesome. But so we're going to do that, and we're going to talk about the NFL because there's lots of news going on there. Uncle Andy will be here later on. We got NBA, which the Spurs, that's a whole other story. All right, we'll man, oh how the mighty have fallen, on that one. But okay, so we got lots to cover. All right, so let's do this. Let's take a pause for the cause. When we come back, we'll get into the soiree known as the halftime report with Pudge. We'll be back right after this. I mean, even the handle on it is like double leather, So
Yeah. No, that is nice. That is first class.
well, go ahead, grab it, man.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah. I guess use that chair.
Yeah, better sit in that chair.
Well, no, doesn't have arms, so.
Yeah.
But at least with the case to open it.
Set it on the case.
You have a CDL license and are ready for a new career.
And then move it out of the way.
You're okay, Chuck.
She's like, "Are we going somewhere? We just got here, man."
That's always a big plus. They also offer their CDL drivers competitive pay, a guaranteed
Oh
salary,
boy, the weight of this thing.
Yeah.
and more. Pepsi Cola of Corpus Christi is a local family-owned business. Serve the community for
Oh, that is
years.
sweet.
Join the Pepsi Cola team and enjoy the benefits of working for a local family-owned business. If you have a CDL license,
Yeah, fourth.
make a change.
Go to the bottom. There it is.
Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oh,
And hear more
man.
benefits of working for the
What?
Pepsi
Oh,
Corpus Christi family.
oh,
They conduct
oh.
on-the-spot
Are
interviews
those baby
at their
humbuckers?
offices located at 1401 South Padre Island Drive. To
They're
hear
baby
more about the
humbuckers,
benefits
right?
they have to
I
offer.
guess so.
Visit with the management
Not,
team for on-the-spot interviews to learn more about your new CDL driver.
Oh, the strap, if you want a strap,
Padre Island Drive.
is
Be a part of the Pepsi Corpus Christi family.
in there. It's got a little compartment there for you.
Everyone gets excited about Mr. Nice Guy's fantastic prizes.
Oh, look at that. I hadn't even seen it in this light, but it's more of a. Well, it matches the velvet. It's kind of like an orangey brown. It's a unique brown.
I'm wondering if these are baby humbuckers or they're not P90s.
Oh, we're still on. Oh, well, here, hang on. Let's see. Boom. There it is. We're still filming. We got to stop recording. So there. All right, you can see. You looking for your guitar pick?
Yeah, I'm looking for my picks.
I have one.
Well, I have them in here somewhere.
Yeah, keep looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a gorgeous guitar, man. So we'll plug it into the amp here in a little bit. We'll wake up the neighbors, piss them off. All right. All right. Well, folks, while Tom gets ready, you all have yourself a wonderful morning. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later. Peace.